Hej, siemano wam wszystkim ludzie, z tej strony Arturo, witam was na swoim kanale i kontynuujemy Agatha Christie Morderstwo w Orient Expressie. Detektyw Locke pobiegła za mordercą, a my po raz kolejny wcielamy się w Herkulesa Poirot i z tego co pamiętam musimy zbadać miejsce zbrodni. Widać już Denata tutaj w oddali. O! Pełno forsy.
There must be several tens of thousands of dollars in this bag.
Okulary przeciwsłoneczne.
A pair of women's glasses. Was Ratchet planning a new identity?
Znaczy chyba to nie są do końca okulary przeciwsłoneczne, ale takie delikatnie przyciemnione.
The victim was stabbed. Apparently the method of choice in this case.
Co my tutaj mamy? Klucze. Okej.
A bunch of keys. If, as seems likely, Mr. Wadi is a resident of Geneva, then one of these may belong to his home there.
Dobra, mamy klucze. Kompletnie nie mam zielonego pojęcia, co to jest za kraj. Ale mówił coś o Genewie.
Various clothes in his suitcase. Mr. Wadi was obviously planning to leave this city. Mr. Wadi's Swiss passport. I'll see if I can find a match on the internet to confirm his identity.
Znajdź informacje na temat pana Wadiego. Okej, imię i nazwisko. Aziz Wada. Narodowość Włoch, Szwajcar, Francuz. Miasto Genewa, zdecydowanie. Wiek? No powiedzmy, że 45 lat. Aziz Wada. Tam było Aziz czy Azi? Dobra, Aziz Wada. Szwajcaria. Mężczyzna, tak? 78, czyli ma 45 lat. Szwajcaria. Aziz Wadi. Aziz Wadi. Szwajcar. Genewa 45 lat.
That was easy.
No dobra, włączmy zatem naszą mapę umysłu, zobaczmy co tam pojawiły się za nowe opcje. Muszę przyjrzeć się miejscu zbrodni, zanim zjawi się policja. Mamy przeszukane miejsce zbrodni 4/5. Czyli jeszcze coś będę mógł tutaj przeanalizować. No dobra. Ale tutaj już nic nie ma. Coś jest wyrzeźbione na ławce. Myślałem, że będzie to kluczowe, ale jednak nie. A tu mamy, nie wiem, co to jest, jakiś boiler? Strada della Cortesia. Czyli rozumiem, że dalej tutaj przejść nie będę mógł, aczkolwiek mogę. Niestety te drzwi są zamknięte. Czyli wychodzi na to, że coś jeszcze w tym miejscu zbrodni muszę znaleźć. Przeanalizować. Może faktycznie w tej walizce coś jeszcze znajdziemy. Chyba tak. Torbę z pieniędzmi sobie przeszukaliśmy. Tak naprawdę mamy tylko 2 punkty interaktywne.
The victim was stabbed. Apparently the method of choice in this case.
Czy coś jeszcze w tej walizce jest, co się rzuca w oczy? No nie. Dobra, tutaj mamy tą łamigłówkę o Alicji. Pan Wadi był bankierem pracującym w Bank Dulac w Genewie, w Szwajcarii. Ale cały czas brakuje mi jednej tutaj podpowiedzi jakby. Może u góry coś znajdziemy. Na końcu się faktycznie okaże, że coś jeszcze w tej torbie jest.
Various clothes in his suitcase. Mr. Waddy was obviously planning to leave this city. Mr. Waddy's Swiss passport.
Ale to tylko tyle. No bo tutaj ewidentnie nic nie ma. Tego klucza przeanalizować też w żaden sposób nie mogę. Chyba że tą gondolę będę mógł spadać? Albo coś tutaj dalej? No wiecie, w najgorszym wypadku to weźmiemy sobie podpowiedź, bo też mamy taką możliwość. Mamy wąsy.
Haha! Golden mustache.
2/4. Czyli ten rozdział wcale taki krótki nie będzie. Tam ktoś stoi. Może będę mógł z nim zamienić słówko. O, tu coś jest.
A false passport with Ratchet's picture. Clark? Ratchet? How many others? Now he will become Enrico Caldo. It appears Ratchet changed his identity as often as his socks.
Caldo Enrique, Italiana. Dobra, zebrano obiekt paszport Ratcheta. Zbadaj miejsce zbrodni. 5/5. Pieniądze w plecaku, nowy węzeł. A, ja myślałem, że ktoś tutaj stoi, to jest po prostu zwykła paleta oparta o ścianę. Intuicja umożliwia ci dochodzenie do własnych wniosków. Pieniądze w plecaku. Z interesów Skyrem, okup zapłacony w sprawie Armstrongów. O!
This direction looks promising.
I'm sorry I couldn't catch the suspect, Mr. Poirot.
There is no need to apologize, mademoiselle. Your efforts were marvelous. I found some information about Mr. Waddy.
Did you access the FBI database?
Don't worry, my little gray cells were enough. However, the database may confirm the origin of these banknotes.
No need. I included them when I continued my investigation.
Excellent.
Odszukaj numery seryjne banknotów dolarowych na zdjęciach w telefonie Joanny. Okej. Dobra, co my tutaj mamy? NA2152. NA2152. Nie widzę tutaj nic takiego. NA2150. NA2151. Nie widzę takich numerów seryjnych.
No, Joanna. That doesn't track.
No właśnie.
No, I did something wrong.
Okej, tutaj mamy... Tu coś się może już zgadzać. NA2150 2203G.
That is a great detective job.
Dobra, kolejny. NA. Wszystkie mają tak naprawdę NA. NA2152 7649C. Mamy kolejny.
That's it. No rookie mistake there.
NA2151 888. Mamy kolejny.
Hey, I'm a pretty good detective after all. Mr. Poirot, it's part of the ransom money from the Armstrong case.
You are surprised?
I suppose not.
So Ratchet had it in an account at the Banque du Lac.
It would seem so. He knew the serial numbers on the banknotes could be traced, and he could not spend it, so he stashed it there.
But now he's run low, something he didn't count on. He hopes enough time has passed so he can begin to spend the ransom money.
There is something else he didn't count on.
What's that?
He didn't count on you, Detective Locke, and your tenacity.
Thank you. But we are still left with a murderer on the loose.
But we progress. We know Mr. Wadi had an appointment with Ratchet. He had a bag full of money and a passport with Ratchet's photo, but a new name. What is your opinion about the passport?
Co z paszportem Ratcheta? Ratchet kolejny raz chciał sobie stworzyć fałszywą tożsamość i zniknąć. Paszport zawiera informacje na temat prawdziwej tożsamości Ratcheta. Jak myślicie? Stworzył sobie kolejną fałszywą tożsamość i chciał zniknąć, czy zawiera prawdziwe informacje? Mi się wydaje, że bardziej to.
I discovered that he was arrested in Armenia for trafficking in stolen art and was supposed to be arraigned in January. Once again, he changed his identity and vanished.
You are correct, mademoiselle. He also told me that he was threatened, and that threatening letter we found in his room was real. He had to disappear once again.
Dlaczego morderca zostawił pieniądze? Zabranie ich byłoby zbyt ryzykowne. Motywem zabójstwa nie były pieniądze. O, to jest ciekawe. Aczkolwiek wydaje mi się, że by było to bardziej ryzykowne.
Maybe the killer didn't take the money because we interrupted him.
Perhaps, but the bag is not very big. He could have easily escaped with it. I do not think he was interested in the money.
If the motive isn't money, then what?
It suggests a new motive altogether. Perhaps passion or revenge.
Afekt czy zemsta? Zabójstwo popełniono w afekcie. Motywem była zemsta.
Revenge seems like an obvious motive to me. The murderer carefully followed Wadi from the fountain to the new meeting place despite Wadi's precautions. That is cold and careful.
Excellent. We cannot yet know for certain, but that is a sound psychological analysis. We have an idea of the motive. It is the same motive as that of our 12 would-be murderers on the train. But we still must know who was under that mask.
Kim jest morderca? Ta sama osoba, która zabiła Ratcheta. Morderca wynajęty przez Ratcheta. Tam było 13 ran. Ta sama osoba, która zabiła Ratcheta. Obstawiam, że to.
I think Wadi's killer is also Ratchet's murderer. The motive for both deaths was revenge, and both are related to the Armstrong case through the ransom money.
Exactly. So our murderer is linked to the Armstrong case. The money is linked to the Armstrong case. But these glasses that I found in the bag, they must have something to do with this case too.
Wait, those glasses mean something to me.
Do kogo należą te okulary? Dr Konstantin, Suzanne Moreau, niania Daisy. Kto miał takie okulary? Czy czasami nie dr Konstantin? Tak mi się przynajmniej wydaje. Suzanne Moreau nie miała okularów.
Dr. Constantine? No, that's not it. They're the woman's glasses, and I think there's something about them. They're familiar to me somehow. Wait, I know. I've seen these. They belong to Suzanne Moreau, little Daisy's nurse. I remember seeing them in her bedroom, but they were gone the day she died.
I remember the press saying that the nurse had committed suicide.
I've always believed otherwise, and the glasses are proof that she was killed by Ratchet or his accomplice. He took those glasses. I always had a gut feeling, but now, Mr. Poirot, now I have proof Suzanne was innocent.
Yes, you do. But the question I ask myself is this. Why did Ratchet keep these glasses?
Znaczy się, nie mogłem skojarzyć tego, żeby Suzanne Moreau nosiła okulary, dlatego wybrałem doktora Konstantina. Aczkolwiek, Suzanne chodziła mi po głowie przez cały czas. Dlaczego zachował okulary? Trofea swoich ofiar. Fałszywy dowód, którym zamierzał się posłużyć.
Ratchet used to leave fake evidence at the scene of his crimes to incriminate others. He did the same thing to frame Suzanne.
Possibly. But keeping an object belonging to his victim as a souvenir of the murder, that is the behavior of a fetishist.
Now that you mention it, in my investigation at the time, I had already found Daisy's hair clip in Ratchet's cabin, and now we find Suzanne's glasses in a bag for Ratchet.
2 objects from 2 victims of Ratchet. He is a trophy hunter.
Okay, we managed to clear up some of the gray areas. What now?
The bag only contained a fraction of the $1 million ransom of the Armstrong case. The rest must still be in a secure place. I will make a wager with you that it is the Banque du Lac in Geneva where Mr. Waddy worked.
Waddy was also the keeper of Ratchet's secrets. They were killed by the same murderer.
Agreed. Well, there is nothing more we can do here except wait for the police. Prepare yourself for a long evening with the police. We have a lot of explaining to do.
And after that?
A visit to Geneva, perhaps?
Here you are at last. I was worried about you.
We just left the police station. We had to explain to the Italian police that we were not murderers.
What? Another murder?
I'll tell you when we're underway. Are all passengers and staff aboard?
Yes, everyone is here. We were waiting for you.
Excellent. Let's not waste any more time. We have to make a longer than usual stop in Lausanne.
What? How long?
Long enough to do a little banking in Geneva.
But this is madness. A 13th murderer of Ratchet?
Mon ami, he was not well liked.
But Monsieur Michel would have seen anyone enter Ratchet's compartment. And there were another 10 people milling about, taking their turn at stabbing him. How could they not notice an uninvited killer?
Dlaczego pan Michel nie dostrzegł mordercy? Złożył fałszywe zeznania. Palił winkowci.
The 13th killer could have acted when Michel was smoking on the platform at Winkowski. But even after the train departed, Michel was absent from his post at the end of the corridor several times the night of the murder. I must know where he really was and when.
Morderca wciąż jest w pociągu. Tak? Nie. Jak myślicie, czy morderca dalej jest w pociągu?
Yes, he most certainly returned to the train.
How can you be sure?
It's obvious. I mean, I hope Mr. Poirot agrees.
Please continue, Detective Locke.
Co dowodzi tego, że morderca wciąż jest w pociągu. Uciekł w kierunku weneckiego dworca. Pociąg jest dla niego najłatwiejszym sposobem na ucieczkę z Włoch. Nie brakuje żadnego pasażera pociągu.
The train is French. The murder took place in Slovenia and the victim's body is in Italy. Jurisdiction won't be sorted out before the train reaches Paris. The murderer is probably content to sit tight aboard the train until Paris, where he can disappear.
It is undoubtedly a possibility, but we have no proof.
Uciekł w kierunku weneckiego dworca.
While I was chasing him, he was clearly running in the direction of Venice Station, where the Orient Express was waiting.
Very possibly, but it is not much in the way of proof, mademoiselle.
I za trzecim razem dopiero wybiorę właściwą odpowiedź. Nie brakuje żadnego pasażera pociągu.
All the passengers and crew are still aboard. If the killer of Mr. Waddy had remained in Venice, we would have noticed right away that someone was missing, and we could have alerted the authorities.
I promise you, I made certain everyone was aboard before we embarked.
Book, calm yourself.
Calm myself? But we're back where we started. There is still another murderer on my train. Wait a moment. Can I change my mind about my verdict? Can we turn everyone over to the police?
Everyone? Including ourselves?
What? No. No. Oh, it's a nightmare.
Let us take it step by step, my friend. We can start by eliminating all of the members of the Ratchet jury.
Kim jest 20 ludzi, którzy w sprawie Ratcheta postanowili odegrać rolę zarówno ławy przysięgłych, jak i katów? 12 ludzi do zidentyfikowania. No dobra. Pani Schmidt... Kurde, już nie pamiętam tak naprawdę. Pani Andrinei. Pan Andrinei. Pan Foscarelli. Pan Hardman. Pani Hubbard. Pan McQueen. Pan Masterman. Pan Michel. Pan Foucher. Pani Dragomirow. Ile już mam zaznaczonych osób? Pani Dabenham. Raz, dwa, trzy, cztery, pięć, sześć, siedem, osiem, dziewięć, 10, 11, 12.
No, not good.
Czyli brakuje mi tak naprawdę raz, dwa, trzy, cztery, pięć, sześć, siedem, osiem, dziewięć, 10. 2 osoby. 2 ludzi do zidentyfikowania.
Think, Poirot, that is not a good answer.
Kapitan Arbanot. Monsieur Book.
I'm right again. That happens to me a lot. If we eliminate the 12 jurors, we are left with 7 additional suspects.
7? It's still too many.
I agree. We must reduce our list.
Excuse my impatience, Poirot. It's as if my beautiful train is cursed. Can you exonerate any of the 7?
Inni podejrzani. Czy podejrzewam Booka? Tak? Nie. W sumie to jego bym w ogóle nie podejrzewał, aczkolwiek no, czy mogę mu zaufać?
Adequate. Book worked hard to get me aboard the train. He is definitely not a suspect.
Inni podejrzani. Czy podejrzewam panią Locke? Tak? Nie. Szczerze powiedziawszy, jej też bym nie podejrzewał.
Good job. Mademoiselle Locke cannot be a suspect. She pursued Mr. Waddy's murderer.
Od samego początku zresztą prowadzi to śledztwo. Czy podejrzewam doktora Konstantina? Szczerze powiedziawszy, jego nie podejrzewam.
Great. Dr. Constantine alerted me to the 13th stab wound. He is not a suspect. That's the right answer. I have 4 suspects left who I must now examine more closely. Miss Nielsen, Monsieur Maury, Monsieur Fauché, and Countess Andrény.
One of my employees? Suspicious?
All 3 got off the train in Venice to restock supplies. Any one of them might have slipped away without being noticed.
I suppose. But what of Countess Andrény? You cleared her yourself.
She is cleared of the first murder, but we know little of her movements here in Venice. So, we still have 4 suspects to interview. Detective Locke?
I can't join you, Poirot. My chief saw something on the news about the case and my involvement. He's demanding an explanation. If I want to keep my badge, I have to call him.
Then you must do so by all means.
I'm sorry.
No need to apologize. I understand.
I'll make the call from my compartment. If you're looking for me, I'll be there.
I hate to say this, Poirot, but I must. There is, of course, one other suspect with a motive for murder. The ransom money.
You mean Detective Locke? Then who did she chase? Who killed Aziz? We both saw the masked murderer standing over the body.
Nowy trop. Przesłuchaj panią Nielsen. Przesłuchaj pana Fouchera. Przesłuchaj pana Moriego. Przesłuchaj hrabinę Andrinei. Halo, otwierać, policja!
Doctor, I need to question Countess Andrény.
I'm afraid that won't be possible, Mr. Poirot. The Countess had an anxiety attack when we arrived in Venice. She was terrified the police would come for her and her husband, despite how you concluded your investigation. I had to give her a sedative. She has been sleeping since.
You have stayed with her all the time we were in Venice?
Count Andrény begged me to watch over her. I have not left this room.
You're the reason she's in this state.
Book voted to absolve you all. I accepted his verdict.
I told her. I tried to reason with her. What she has already suffered, the strain of these last few days, it was too much.
I understand, Count. It's quite all right. I have the answers I came for.
Czyli tak, panią hrabinę możemy wykluczyć, biorąc pod uwagę fakt, że dr Konstantin cały czas tutaj był. To pudełeczko już sobie otwieraliśmy, nie? W sumie tak naprawdę już nic przy nim więcej zrobić nie możemy.
Ah, Michel, I have a few more questions to ask you, if you will allow me.
Anything, Monsieur Poirot. We are in your debt.
Co robił pan w czasie postoju w Wenecji?
Please tell me your movements when we were stopped at Venice Station.
Once the compartments were cleaned and the linen refreshed, I stayed in my quarters.
Did you notice anything special? Comings and goings?
Monsieur Bouc had asked everyone to stay in their compartments. I would occasionally walk the train to ensure everyone was comfortable. Oh, I saw Monsieur Maury was all alone loading his crates of provisions. A great chef like that, reduced to petty labor, I would have helped him. But Monsieur Bouc had ordered me not to leave the train for any reason. So, Monsieur Maury was forced to labor alone.
A może w tej skrzyni był schowany potencjalny morderca? Chronologia zdarzeń w noc morderstwa Ratcheta.
Let us review the actual timeline of the night of Ratchet's murder, not the one manufactured to hide your crime.
I left the train in Minkowski for a smoke. Then I resumed my post. That was the truth. The train departed on schedule, but then of course an avalanche of snow blocked the tracks. At 12:45, Madame Hubbard and I met in her compartment to discuss how to adapt our plan.
Due to the snow and Poirot.
The little play we had staged for you had to be rewritten. I left her compartment at approximately 1:15.
Then the curtain went up. Calls in the night, the red kimono, all for my benefit.
And all for nothing, as it turned out.
Do not blame yourself, Michel. I am the theater critic no playwright wants to see in the audience.
No dobra, zatem chodźmy przesłuchać pana Moriego.
You play well. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Thank you. Many years of piano lessons thanks to my mother. I try to play in a few clubs in Paris when I get the chance, but as you can see, it hasn't made me rich. What can I do for you?
Conversation only.
Co robił pan w czasie postoju w Wenecji?
Tell me about your time in Venice.
I had Monsieur Bouc's permission to see my sister. She lives in Marghera, just outside of Venice. She had a baby a few weeks ago. This was my first chance to meet my new nephew.
Monsieur Bouc gave you permission?
Yes, you can ask him.
Most assuredly, I will. What time did you leave and when did you return?
I left around 9:10 p.m. I was back by 10:45 p.m. When I got back, Hotaru was in a lot of pain. I gave him a back massage.
That would have been enough time to kill Monsieur Wadi and return to the train.
Obejrzyj noże.
May I see your knives?
Of course, they are here.
If you don't mind.
Help yourself. They are under the bar counter.
Chronologia zdarzeń w noc morderstwa Ratcheta.
Tell me again about your poker game the night of the murder.
It's a regular game to help relax after a long day. Let's see, we started around 11 p.m. We took a short break in Minkowski, Hotaru, Pierre and I. The game finished up around 2 a.m. We'd all had quite a bit to drink. Ah, yes. I left for about 10 minutes to refrigerate champagne for the next day. That must have been around 1 a.m.
Rozumiem, no dobra. W takim razie noże znajdują się pod blatem.
None of these come close to the wounds on either body.
Została nam tak naprawdę jedna osoba do przesłuchania. Pan Mori. A jego zapewne znajdziemy w przedziale restauracyjnym. Pozwolenie dla pana Fischera.
You told Fauché he could go into Venice?
Marghera, actually. Not so far away. It was his only chance to see his sister. He's been working every train for weeks. There is never time to see the new baby.
Enough, Book. Your heart does you credit, but your common sense,
I know. But it's fine. Isn't it? He did come back.
Oh, it's fine, as you say. Unless he saw the baby, then killed someone else and returned to the train.
But that's monstrous.
Murder is always monstrous, my friend.
Czyli mamy jakiś trop, tak? Ale czy będzie on słuszny? Tego nie wiem.
Good evening, Monsieur Mori. May I have a moment of your time? I have a few questions to ask you.
Of course, as long as you don't mind if dinner is ruined.
I promise to be as brief as possible.
Co robił pan w czasie postoju w Wenecji?
What did you do while we were stopped in Venice?
With Freya's help, I loaded fresh produce for the next part of our journey. Then, you may not believe this, but my job requires a lot of physical labor. My back suffers. Fortunately, Jean has become quite adept at separating my vertebrae.
Obejrzyj noże.
As you may know, I have solved the murder of Monsieur Ratchet.
That is a shame.
I beg your pardon?
The bastard sent my steak tartar back, telling John I was to burn it.
I will add it to the list of his crimes. One wound on Monsieur Ratchet's body was struck by a very sharp, thin-bladed knife. We haven't found it yet.
You think one of mine was used?
I'd like to have a look if you don't mind.
In that drawer.
An impressive set of knives, but their blades are too wide to have been used for the crime.
Chronologia zdarzeń w noc morderstwa Ratcheta.
Tell me about your poker game the night of the murder.
We started around 11 p.m. When John finished his shift. We played until around 2 a.m. From what I remember, it's a bit vague.
You played without a break.
Actually, we did break once for a smoke. John, Pierre, and I. When we stopped in Winkowski.
When was that?
Around midnight?
Czyli tak naprawdę przesłuchaliśmy wszystkie osoby.
Saffron. It must be worth a small fortune.
Dobra, jakie możemy wyciągnąć wnioski z tych wszystkich rozmów? Muszę przesłuchać panią Nielsen w sprawie morderstwa Ratcheta oraz morderstwa popełnionego w Wenecji, czyli jeszcze jedna pani nam została. A gdzie ja znajdę panią Nielsen? Helena Andrinei. Freya Nielsen. Dobra. Przedział 301. Ale obstawiam, że będzie gdzieś tutaj. Nie ma jej.
The box is secured by some sort of locking mechanism. The design is formed by 3 commas. What is the word in Japanese? Tamoe. And it's obviously missing a piece.
Brakuje jednego elementu. Dobra, rozejrzyjmy się zatem w tym przedziale. Może znajdziemy gdzieś taki element. Ale pani Nielsen ewidentnie tutaj nie ma. Tu siedzi.
Good evening, Mademoiselle Nielsen. May I talk to you for a moment?
Of course, Mr. Poirot. I'm not going to bed right away.
Co pani robiła w czasie postoju w Wenecji?
Can you tell me your movements while we were stopped in Venice?
That'll be easy. I didn't move much at all. Let's see. I helped Hataru load all of the food crates aboard the train. Hataru had everything he needed, but I realized they forgot half of my order. I spent over an hour on the phone with the supplier without success. I had to change the dessert menu for tomorrow.
Obejrzyj noże.
Dr. Constantine found a stab wound on Ratchet's body that was caused by a much thinner and sharper blade than the others.
Possibly a chef's knife?
My thought precisely.
And you'd like to see my knives?
If you wouldn't mind.
I would gladly show you if I had any, but I don't. I use the regular kitchen knives. You may search if you don't believe me.
I see.
All the knives the staff use are in the kitchen or in the lounge, except...
Except
Hotaro prefers to use his own.
Monsieur Mori doesn't use the kitchen knives?
Not usually. I know he keeps a set of traditional Japanese knives in a box in his room. He doesn't let anyone else use them. Although now that I think of it, he has been using the kitchen knives lately.
Czyli pan Hotaru nie był do końca z nami szczery.
Can you tell me exactly about your poker game the night of the murder?
We started around 11 p.m. In Vinkovsky, we took a short break. Hataru and Pierre went outside to smoke. Oh, and Hataru got sick around a few minutes past 1 a.m. 1:10 a.m. maybe? He spent about 15 minutes in the bathroom, but he didn't want to quit on a losing streak.
Did his luck improve?
No, so we played to around 2 a.m. He lost every hand.
I've talked to everyone, but some elements of the testimonies do not seem to correspond. I need to recheck a few things.
Nowy trop. Zbadaj noże pana Moriego. Coś mi nie pasuje w zeznaniu pani Nielsen. Muszę z nią się skonfrontować. Freya Nielsen powiedziała mi, że pan Mori nie używa noży znajdujących się w kuchni. Korzysta ze swoich japońskich noży, które przechowuje w kwaterach załogi w przedziale 302. Muszę je obejrzeć. Alibi załogi pociągu na czas morderstwa. Wybierz 2 elementy, które potwierdzają alibi załogi na czas morderstwa. Pan Michel, pani Mori i pani Fuscher wyszli z pociągu na stacji Winkowci, by zapalić papierosa. Pan Michel wszedł do przedziału pani Hubbard między 24:45 a 1:15. Pan Fuscher włożył szampana do lodówki o 24:55. Pani Nielsen nie pali. Pan Mori wymiotował około 1:10. Pan Michel nie pilnował korytarza od 24:45 do 1:15. Dobra, poczekajcie.
Remind me of what you did when the train stopped in Venice.
No problem. I helped Hataru load all of the food crates aboard the train. Hataru had everything he needed, but I realized they forgot half of my order. I spent over an hour on the phone with the supplier, without success. I had to change the dessert menu for tomorrow.
Konfrontacja. Który z tych zdań zawiera kłamstwo? Wniosłam z Hotaru wszystkie skrzynie z zaopatrzeniem. Okazało się, że połowa mojego zamówienia nie została zrealizowana. Przez godzinę rozmawiałam przez telefon z dostawcą, bezskutecznie. Musiałam dokonać zmian w karcie deserów na jutro. Jak myślicie? Mi się wydaje, że coś z Hotaru może być nie halo.
Mademoiselle, I believe you're hiding the truth from me.
What makes you say that?
Zeznanie pana Moriego, zeznanie pana Fuschera, zeznanie pana Michel.
Monsieur Mori was loading crates of food on the train.
Yes, I helped him. You can ask him yourself.
It's true. Monsieur Mori told me that Miss Nielsen did help him.
No tak, ale pan Michel mówił, że Mori robił to sam.
Michel saw Monsieur Mori carrying the crates of food alone. You weren't on the platform.
I did help Hataru.
The entire time? He carried so many crates, his back was sore.
I'm sorry about that. Okay, I'm guilty. I did leave him before we were finished. But I had to. There was no saffron he needed for a recipe. I volunteered to go into Venice and get him some. The Rialto market would be open late because of the carnival. He gave me money. I knew we weren't supposed to leave the train, but I only wanted to help. Mr. Mori can confirm this. Ask him. I saved dinner.
On behalf of my palate, I thank you. How long were you gone?
I left at 9:10 p.m. and was back with the saffron around 11. That's when I called my supplier for the items I was missing.
Miss Nielsen had almost 2 hours to buy the saffron, find a costume, kill Monsieur Wadi, elude Detective Locke, and make it back to the train for that phone call. Yes, it's possible that was enough time. Thank you, Mademoiselle Nielsen. That is all for now.
Sorry again, Mr. Poirot. I hope you enjoy tonight's dessert.
Nowy węzeł. Alibi załogi pociągu. Pan Fuscher włożył szampana do lodówki. Pani Nielsen nie pali. Pan Mori wymiotował około 1:10. Pan Michel nie pilnował korytarza od 24:45 do 1:15. Pani Nielsen nie pali. Pan Fuscher włożył szampana do lodówki. Pan Michel wszedł do przedziału pani Hubbard między 24:45 a 1:15. Nie pilnował korytarza?
This is wrong, but I'm never far from the truth.
No właśnie, to było dziwne. Pan Michel, pan Mori i pan Fuscher wyszli z pociągu na stacji, by zapalić papierosa. Pani Nielsen nie wyszła z pociągu Winkowci, była więc jedyną osobą przebywającą wtedy w kwaterach załogi. Okej. Pan Fuscher wsiadł do pociągu o 24:55, gdy Pierre Michela nie było w korytarzu wagonu pierwszej klasy.
Any of the 3 staff members had the opportunity to kill Ratchet when Monsieur Michel wasn't watching the hallway. That's the right answer.
Okej. No musielibyśmy jeszcze w jakiś sposób otworzyć tą kasetkę, która znajduje się tutaj. Ale brakuje jednego elementu.
The box is secured by some sort of locking mechanism. The design is formed by 3 commas. What is the word in Japanese? Tamoe. And it's
Pewnie będziemy musieli porozmawiać z panem Mori, aczkolwiek tu coś leży. O! Dobra, mamy pudełko, które w jakiś sposób mogę otworzyć. To mogę przesunąć. To też mogę przesunąć. Ale znowu ten środkowy... przewróć interakcja. Obracać tego nie mogę. A nie, mogę, dobra. To jest wszystko jasne. O! Coś tu mamy.
It's still locked. I need to move the parts on the side. It's still locked. I need to move the parts on the side.
No dobra, mamy kolejną zagadkę, jak w The Room. Dobra, ja chyba wiem, o co tutaj chodzi. Zrobimy to w ten sposób. Poczekajcie. To nic nie da. Dobra, moi drodzy, zostawimy sobie tą łamigłówkę na kolejny odcinek. W tym miejscu kończymy. Mam nadzieję, że wam się podoba... O, poczekajcie, bo tu też coś leży. Piórko.
A black feather. That reminds me of something.
Czy mi przypomina coś czarne piórko? Niekoniecznie, aczkolwiek... Moi drodzy, w tym miejscu kończymy ten odcineczek. Mam nadzieję, że wam się podobał. To pudełko postaramy się rozwiązać na początku kolejnego. A tymczasem dzięki wielkie, trzymajcie się. Hej!